Hello Bookstack, welcome to the 2016 Bookstack Review. Alright, so we're going to be going over the books that I read this year. First off, I'd like to address that I haven't been on in quite some time. I do apologize. I've got quite a few new subscribers since the last time I posted, which I think was either in June or July. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. I hope to continue to gain subscribers, continue to grow the channel. Just things have been pretty busy, so I'm glad to get back to it in 2017. So I wanted the first thing that I go over to be my book stack from 2016. Now, the books are going to be presented in reverse order. So the first one we go over is the last one I read. The last one we go over will be the first one I read for 2016. It's just how I stack them. That's how I keep my stack as I go. The first one goes on the bottom, and as I read, they just stack up top. So let's get started with the first book. So first up, we have C.S. Lewis's Out of the Silent Planet. I really like C.S. Lewis. This is the first novel of his that I've read. I guess if you don't count the Screwtape Letters, I don't consider the Screwtape Letters to be like a novel necessarily, but this is a novel. Of course, it's a story. It was really good. It's part of a story, part of a trilogy. And I got this second part of the trilogy. I'm going to be reading that hopefully in 2017. Next up, we have The Devils Delusion by David Berlinski. It was really, really good. It was very informative. As you can see, I got all kind of notes and things inside the book here. This was one that was really academic. He writes at kind of a high level, and for those of you who read this year How to Read a Book, it was one that I didn't understand everything the author said as he was saying it, so it meant that I was learning and I was growing as I was reading it. So this is one I'm definitely going to have to read again in the future to really kind of squeeze all of the information out of it. But the first pass, it was really intellectual, but at the same time it was hard to put down. So I really enjoyed reading through it and learning, and the way he writes was very, I wouldn't say entertaining, but it was very engaging, and so I really enjoyed that one. Next, we have Malcolm Gladwell's David and Goliath. Now, I am a big Malcolm Gladwell fan. I've read everything else that he's published except for the anthology he put out, What the Dog Saw. David and Goliath was very enlightening. It's about how underdogs can win if they're willing to think outside of the box and willing to kind of use their strengths. So when you're working with a small team, you typically have strengths that larger teams don't have, and larger teams have weaknesses that the smaller teams don't have. And so if you can play to your advantages, you can win even against a stronger, mightier, bigger opponent. So I highly recommend David and Goliath. You might want to add that to your 2017 list. And if you haven't read anything about Malcolm Gladwell, pick up anything and read it. It's very enlightening, very engaging, very informative. I highly recommend them. Our next one we have here is How to Read the Bible for All It's Worth. I, for one, enjoy reading the Bible. I get a lot out of it. I love to study it. And if you are into studying the Bible, I cannot recommend this more highly. It was incredible. I've been studying the Bible for many years, and you think like, oh, I know how to do that. I just read it. Not even close. These guys really dig into the things that you may be missing, and what I really was challenged on was things that I had been taught that I had not necessarily went into the Bible and read and learned for myself. So I think that's a lesson that anyone can learn from, Christian or not, is that, you know what, how many things in your life do you believe that you've been told, but you have not discovered and you have not kind of dug into yourself? So again, How to Read the Bible for All It's Worth, highly recommended read. Next, we have the Ragamuffin Gospel by a guy named Brennan Manning. This was a really enlightening read. I was a little bit nervous reading. I kind of get nervous reading books by authors I haven't heard before in this particular genre. Sometimes the ideas can be a little extremist, they can be a little bit abused, but I got a lot out of this read. I found it very enlightening, very engaging, and it really helped to kind of broaden my mind and allow me to see things in a different way. Again, typically I read authors in a certain vein. This guy was outside of that, which was good because it helped me kind of, challenge some things again that I had believed and that I had read and understood before, and you can help me see another side of that. So if you're looking for a book on the subject of grace, the Ragamuffin Gospel by Brennan Manning is a recommended read. Getting into the classic mode of things, we have Aeschylus. This is the Orestian trilogy. It's 3 plays. I wanted to get into something classic. I want to read. I got a set called Great Books of the Western World, and this is one of the authors in that set. So I wanted to read something that was classic, something that was timeless, and it was actually a really good story on redemption, and how redemption was found kind of in these times. And it's Agamemnon coming back from the war, right? The Trojan War, from the Iliad. And so he's coming home with his spoils, and he's coming home to his wife. It was some interesting things, how things play out. So these Greek tragedies, if you've never read them, they can be difficult to read, but if you push through, you can get a lot out of it. There's a reason that they've standed the test of time all this time. They were a fantastic plays. So I recommend the Orestes trilogy by Aeschylus. All right, I'm sure everyone knows this one, How to Read a Book, Mortimer Adler. Don't want to say too much about it. There are videos I've talked about it. But before this, I'm going to be kind of finishing the series I started on this particular book in the near future. But I cannot recommend this book highly enough. Again, you think, I know how to read a book. You do not. This will challenge and help you grow in your reading 100%. Mortimer Adler, How to Read a Book. Check it out. Anyone that knows me knows I love Ravi Zacharias. So Jesus Among Other Gods, he's a Christian apologist. It's a fantastic read, very informative, not very long, but it's packed full of information that's very useful. Again, another recommended read. We have Kite Runner up next, the only book he's published that I hadn't read, the Kite Runner. I know you're like, man, you're so like a decade late on this. I am, but it was just as good as the other ones. I've read everything about Kite Runner, and it is amazing. I probably not pronounced his name right, but he's a fantastic author. He really writes real life. I recommend that you check him out. Trying to wrap this video up here. I know I don't want to go too long. I know I've had that trouble in the past. A.W. Tozer, right? God's Pursuit of Man. My first A.W. Tozer book, and I was thoroughly pleased. I loved it. Again, look at all the notes I took, all my little tabs and things. Anything about A.W. Tozer is fantastic. This was a great read. It really enlightened my eyes to a lot of different things. I may address that in some upcoming videos, but A.W. Tozer, check him out. Fellowship of the Ring, right? A classic. Should have read this so long ago. I read The Hobbit twice. I was glad to finally start the Fellowship of the Ring. Gonna read The Two Towers in 2017 to finish out the trilogy. Then Return of the King, maybe also in 2017. But this was awesome. I really loved it. Love Tolkien. I may have talked a little bit about this one. It's called Zen and the Art of Writing by Ray Bradbury. Read anything you can get your hands on by Ray Bradbury. He is amazing. But this right here, if you're a writer or an artist or anything, if you're just a person, I highly recommend Zen and the Art of Writing. It is absolutely phenomenal. It'll help you just live life better. So Ray Bradbury, Zen and the Art of Writing, highly recommended. Next up, we have The Martian, Andy Weir. Again, hit movie. I read the book. The book's better than the movie, but the movie's phenomenal. The book is awesome too. Highly recommend it. Andy Weir, The Martian. Last up, we have Carlo Rovelli, 7 Brief Lessons in Physics. You could check out my other video I put on earlier this year about this particular book. Very good, some controversial topics that I didn't quite like, but still I recommend picking it up. It's written for the broad reader. It's written for a newspaper, so anybody could read it and like it. Alright guys, so that's my 2016 book stack. If there's any books in there that you like, put the comment below. Let me know what you've been reading in 2016. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video as I do my Christmas book haul. Can't wait to see you in the next one. Have a good one.